Then there are those weird impulses we get constantly, you know? We have to fight them off every day of our lives. Those mad little impulses that we get, and everybody gets them too. Like you'll be with a friend, it could be your best friend in the whole world, he's standing about 2 feet away talking to you, and you're thinking, my goodness, I could just fire out and hit him right now.
Crucial 13, you all appreciate it. Shout out to you.
Get crucial.
I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this.
Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.
What up, y'all? It's Mr. I Ain't Woke. I'm up with another video about energy vampires. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you ain't already subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you can get all my videos, unless YouTube feels like not giving them out. And in this video, we will focus on impulsive and intrusive thoughts. Thoughts that you get that are not yours and are only there because your frequency is way low and your door is open. Now, I've gathered clips from psychologists, psychiatrists, comedians, and the Bible to support my claims. Now, let's get into the video.
What these guys experience when they first encounter these voices. Now, what's important to understand is that these voices sound just like their own thoughts. I mean, they don't come through like, oh, yeah, like the Boogie Woogie Man. They sound just like their own thoughts. They hit people mostly who have been physically, sexually, and emotionally severely abused. So they're already depressed. They're already have a negative mindset. They're already transmitting negativity.
A lot of us, we lose our innocence as we step out of childhood and we accumulate other people's problems
From the traumas that they've faced, and the voices they're like sharks that smell blood. You know, when they detect a big pool of negative emotional energy, you know, they're there to kind of fire it off the best they can.
Now, this is how you can tell who is most affected by this. The most negative people are most likely those who grew up the worst. And this is where the term hurt people come from. Because these energy vampires act through these people and are able to act through these people because of such a low frequency. Now, everybody knows, okay, don't nobody know shit, but people should know that a low frequency is just like inviting these things in, and they feed off of it. They feed off every low vibration there is because they are that vibration. Now, your natural state is a energy being, a high vibrational being, but when you're under a low vibrational state of mind, your mind can be infested and you're able to be fed on.
So people get hit with these most often around 25 years of age. So the individual might be trucking around and, you know, going on with their lives, and they stub their toe. And all of a sudden a thought comes into their head that says, well, you stupid bastard, you couldn't even see that thing, you stubbed your toe, you know, and it sounds just like their own thought. And then later on, they might have lost something, you know, and it's like, then that thought comes in, well, you know, you're stupid and you're worthless, and it picks up from there.
Now, in the words of Ralph Smart, 80% of what you think is irrelevant, insignificant, doesn't serve you. Let me repeat that. 80% of what you think is irrelevant, insignificant, and does not serve you. So that's only 20% that is important. Now, it's not as easy as just saying, hey, stop thinking about that. Because the moment you stop thinking about that is the moment you've just had another thought to stop thinking about that. So I learned the process, and I teach this, of how to clear your mind, the guide to an empty mind. First and foremost, we've got to remind ourselves we are not our thoughts. We are not our thoughts. We are only experiencing them. Your mind lies to you every single day.
Now, this is very important. People may say they don't get intrusive thoughts or impulsive thoughts. Usually those people get a lot of bad ones, but because they think that they are their own thoughts, like psychiatrist Jerry Marzinski said, they come in the form of your own thoughts, they may feel a little embarrassed or shamed about it, so you want to keep that from other people, which is totally natural. I mean, who wants to hear a thought in their head that's crazy or something and then assume that it's their own thought? But I'm here to tell you, if you've ever gotten impulsive thoughts, which you do, they're not yours. They're because your energy field is lowered to the realm of these energy vampires.
Then there are those weird impulses we get constantly, you know? We have to fight them off every day of our lives. There's mad little impulses that we get, and everybody gets them too. Like you'll be with a friend, it could be your best friend in the whole world, he's standing about 2 feet away talking to you, and you're thinking, my goodness, I could just fire out and hit him right now. He would never expect it. See, madness is never that far away. It's as close as saying yes to the wrong impulse.
Now, most people would never admit to the more deranged ones that they have or the more embarrassing thoughts that they have. But this is something I'm sure everyone can relate to, is when you're in a grocery store standing in a line. You're young, you're impressionable, whatever. You might just think, man, I could slap the living hell out of the person right in front of me. But you know you'll never do it. But you really be thinking there like, man, I'll just slap the shit out, dude. And like, where did that thought come from? It's because your energy field is weakened, and now you're just a feeding ground for energy vampires. The lower your energy is, the higher the temptational thoughts are. And the most vulnerable people to these energy vampires are the ones who say the most wicked things. And saying the most egregious things is surely indicative of being impulsive or having intrusive thoughts. If them egregious things are what that person chose to say, imagine the things they chose not to say. You get what I mean? Yes, Crucial 13 is a psychologist.
The people who stay sane are the people who can make those quick decisions. Should I stick my fingers into the fan? Or leave the room right now? Should I run the blade of this razor across my tongue? Or just finish shaving and move away from the sink? Come on, you're right there. You just go,
but it sounds like them talking to themselves. And then it grows in intensity. Now, sometimes they come on and they say, hey, we can help you out. There was one girl that she started hearing, and they said, well, we can help you out on your exams. She was in college. And they told her all the answers to the exams. So she goes, hey, this is cool. So she thought they were friends until they slowly started turning negative on her. And I got called when her mother saw that she was considering suicide, and the voices were telling him to kill herself. So the voices can come on fast, they can come on slow. Amphetamine is one of the biggest things that brings them about. I mean, amphetamine just opens you up to infestation by these things like nothing else. I've seen more people go psychotic on amphetamines than any other drug.
Now, this is why a lot of people who do Adderalls, who do meth, crack, anything that keeps you up for a long time, they start hearing voices. They see shadow people all the time. Some of them are up so long they see shadow people with red eyes, okay? Do not let anybody who you know has taken them drugs tell you otherwise. They are lying, and they are just ashamed and embarrassed, which is just natural.
A lot of us, we lose our innocence as we step out of childhood, and we accumulate other people's problems via the mainstream media, via distractions, via a shoddy environment, via other people's bad attitudes, via people gossiping to us about someone else. So our mind becomes contaminated. We started off with a clear glass of water, and then it got muddied because what happened? We introduced foreign entities into our mind, and we do this every single day.
So as these voices increase in intensity, they start increasingly berating the person. And there was one patient I talked to where the voices came in, and it was like they were trying to drive a new car. They would say, "Hey, go over there and pick up that pencil," or turn around and walk through that door. Or it's kind of like they were trying to see how much the person would listen to what they had to say, how much control they had. It was like they were experimenting with a new vehicle or something.
And this is the overall objective for a lot of these beings, is to manifest here and control people so they can experience this here. This is like paradise to them, which it should be. We're pretty cool beings, right? And a lot of religious people don't believe in possession because they're taught that the devil can't physically possess you or nothing. That is bullshit. Okay? Anytime you even commit a negative act or a quote unquote sin, you're under a spell, you're under control. That's why people can do egregious things and later on say, wow, I wasn't in my right mind. They weren't. Your mind was infested and susceptible to these impulsive thoughts, and you were under a spell enough to act on the thoughts. Okay? This is why I do not condemn or go after people who do evil things, because I know exactly what is behind them. I'm that type of level. Like, Crucial 13 is a real life Ghostbuster, for real.
Have you seen the three monkeys? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Anything that you see is going into your subconscious mind. Anything that you hear is going into your subconscious mind. And therefore, we have to remind ourselves, anything that we introduce into our body temple is either helping us clear our mind or helping us get a cluttered mind.
Back in the day, they knew this about hearing evil, seeing evil, and speaking evil. That any one of them things can just open the door for these beings that they locked away in Pandora's box. And I like to compare regular people who get intrusive thoughts and all that to these psychiatric patients, because that's maybe a more extreme version. But people out on the street in society are like a public experiment for these things. That's why on a mass scale, the world is getting more immoral and a little more crazy. Okay? That is why everyone's fighting, everyone's on demon time, everyone's taking drugs, everyone's just acting a fool, right? Because they are falling victim to their impulses and intrusive thoughts. Think about this. Like what Jim Carrey was saying when he's standing behind his friend or something. Ooh, I could just haul off and hit him. Think about how prevalent impulses are in society, to where kids from my generation, even back before that, played a game called Point 'em Out, Knock 'em Out. Like, how impulsive do you have to be to just point at somebody and say, knock him out? Now on a deeper level, it's to see if you're crazy enough to fit in with that crowd. But that's on a mass scale, just shows you how impulsive people are. Meaning that the world is so conditioned and terraformed to the way of these energy vampires that we play games like that, and it's normal to us. I mean, back in the real days of Mayat and all that stuff, where you had to be fully righteous before the Nicaea Council came in and started getting you to act crazy and all that, this is considered like very bad. Like if you could even tell somebody, hey, I'm about to play a game called Knock 'em Out. Dude, you might get thrown on a fire because you got to go. You got to die. Because they know what spirit that is. They know what energy vampires that is. Because they know you at your righteous self, following them laws, following God's righteous laws, would never do no bullshit like that. Okay?
Now the rub comes is trying for the patient to figure out where these thoughts are coming from, if they're their own thoughts, and why this is happening. So as the voices begin increasing their control and tell them more horrible things, and it's always consistently negative. You would think hallucinations would be all over the place. They'd be positive, negative, neutral, everything in between. These are not. These run well-defined patterns, and they're repetitive patterns or predictable patterns. They are not random. The conversations that these people carry on with these voices are not word salad. It's not a bunch of gobbledygook. These are complete sentences that they speak to them in. That's not broken. It's like they're speaking to an invisible entity.
Now, yes, what happens is the government that sold you out to these energy vampires are trying to keep their raps under the rug. They're not trying to let them be exposed like that. So whenever people in regular society start freaking out saying, oh, I'm hearing voices, I'm hearing this, they're like, oh shit, he's waking up. He knows that shit ain't normal. So they throw him in the loony bin, right? And they just call this hallucinations. Oh, he's just tripping. No, he's not just tripping. You're tripping. But they have to hide these people from society before they start telling everybody what's going on, and you were seeing this in the movie Freddy vs. Jason, where the dude was having dreams about Freddy, and everybody who had dreams about him and was talking about him and all that had to be thrown in the loony bin. But Freddy is real, you bitch. And these fake doctors, pseudo doctors, will tell you, oh, that's just nonsense they're talking. But why everything they say is negative and wicked, and it's totally coherent. It's never word salad. When you hear somebody's crazy or something, you think they just be saying random shit, right? You would think, right? But no, they're I'm evil. Yes, I'll kill you, bitch. They're fucking evil. Why?
In their heads, in their minds. At first, they don't know what's going on. They're very confused. They're very frightened. They don't know which thoughts are theirs and which thoughts are this coming in from the voices. Other than the voices are telling them vile things that they don't want to share with others.
And yes, even on the surface level of people who get impulsive thoughts a lot and think they are their own thoughts, they like to disassociate from them and act as if it don't exist. And simple psychology will prove this. Like, I used to cover videos on human trafficking within celebrities and Hollywood and all that. It's all bull, it's not true. Okay, YouTube, chill out. But a lot of people that were implicated in all that, they would go around acting as if there's no such thing as it because they were taking part in it.
They cause constant nightmares and attack these people 3-4 in the morning. They do not want them to sleep, and that's part of weakening them so they will not resist their suggestions. So as these things increase, these people need somebody to speak to, so they think, okay, I'll speak to my friends. And they tell their friends about these strange voices that they're hearing and some of the nasty things they're saying, and their friends kind of back off and go, "Woo, you're weird," or something's odd about you. This isn't right. And slowly they back off, think they're weird, think they're possessed, and that's the first blow they get with regard to trying to tell somebody about the voices. And it's a fairly negative experiences. And then the voices come in and go, see, we told you that if you told anyone about us, that this would happen. And it's like, it verifies what the voices told them in the first place. So they've learned not to talk about the voices. There is no positive benefit for them to talk to anyone about the voices, because it's caused them nothing but trouble and heartache, and nobody believes them anyway. All right? So they keep the voices to themselves. They isolate themselves because it's easier not to deal with people and try to figure out what's the voices, what's not the voices. And the voices are always telling them negative things about their friends, their family, any close relationship they have, because they want to break them away from those relationships and isolate them. And the patient feels more secure when they're isolated.
And yes, I know we're comparing psychiatric patients to normal people who just want to turn up. But I'm showing you how close to being a psychopath everyone is. We're like literally walking psychopaths, but they just let the loony bin out on the street. This is why you may see political parties such as the ones on the left support like immoral behavior and psychotic. Yeah, you know, I got to be careful with that, okay? I'm kidding. But yes, to further go on with my joke, they are energy vampires, and the people they, propagate their agenda to are their food, okay? And the more we put our focus and intention toward negative things, because what we focus on grows and evolves, and our intention sets what we manifest in our life, the more we do this on negative things, the more we're going to attract them to us. It's very simple, actually.
A lot of people, as soon as they wake up, they read bad news. There's always a bad news story. You see, whatever you consume will consume you.
But you don't, because luckily, most of us have that little voice inside our head that says, turning the car into oncoming traffic is counterproductive. Imagine if we didn't have that voice, man. I wouldn't even be here right now. I'd be in the Shark Tank at SeaWorld. He's got my legs! He's got my legs! We'd be apologizing till the end of time. Hi, how are you? Sorry, man. You guys enjoying the show? Wow, excuse me. Jeez. Sorry about that. It just came into my head and I made a decision. I don't know. It's, I hate to turn my back on the audience.
And that right there, that intuitive voice, the good voice in your head, God and the angels that are trying to steer you away from these things, you better start listening to that more. And if you can't hear that voice, it's because you're drowning in the impulsive and the intrusive voices. Okay, now a lot of you who are negative all the time are for sure drowning in intrusive and impulsive voices. And now most people, I believe all people, but some will say no to me or whatever, it's fine. But most people at a point in their life when they were kids still had their innocence. Okay, and what that is you weren't affected by this yet. All right, that means that you are still pure, you are still intuitive, you are still in the present moment. You weren't perverted by the world yet, which means at one point this planet was fully righteous. Okay, contrary to a lot of the biblical people who don't know how to read the Bible, who think that we just been born into this sin and we're just effed. No. Okay, no. We ain't that. That energy is not us. It's not our pure self. If you can go your first couple years of childhood pure and innocent, what makes you think the whole world was just cast into evil like that? No, we've been sold out to these things. Okay? And I know it's a lot of debate going on about that, but this ain't debatable to me.
Children, don't ask the question, how can I clear my mind? Because a child is born with no state of mind. The message. Slow motion this side. Blind to the ways of mankind.
Now this is for my religious brothers and sisters, or Bible thumpers, some of them who need to thump themselves in the head with that damn book. and learn how to read it, learn etymology, learn what the words mean before you start interpreting it the wrong way. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, we tear down arguments and every presumption set up against the knowledge of God. Okay? And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ, which means you've had a thought that wasn't obedient to Christ, and you've had to sit with that thought, let it pass, and correct it, right? Not run from it and say, oh my God, I didn't just think that. Nope, I don't be thinking shit like that. Man, I'm crazy as a bitch. I better not tell nobody. No, don't do that. Say, what the hell is this? This ain't my thought here. This too shall pass. Okay? Don't run around screaming like your head's on fire because you think that that's yours. No, God said it's not yours. Okay? Listen to Crucial 13 Ghostbuster. Feel me? And tearing down argument against the knowledge of God, which is people who are negative, people who are arrogant, disrespectful, transgressing the limits of what is permitted or appropriate. Why is this? Because these are actions and acts of energy vampires. Okay? So if you have the Spirit of God, you will never act this way. You will never be this way. Because that is their way, not God's way. So you're permitted to go and correct these type of things. You know, as going hand in hand with correcting the thoughts that are in your own head. Okay, so even if you get an impulsive thought or an intrusive thought, you are ordered to switch the energy of that thought. Okay, this is just common sense at this point, but not at this point on this planet. Oh no, we're about ready to pack up and leave everybody behind. So, you know, if you want to come with us, you know, start cleaning up, eat right, start watching better things on your phone, start, you know, getting rid of a lot of friends that are negative, you know, just any way you can clean up negative energy and start going toward the light, the positive energy, God, the Most High, that'll be in your best interest. Okay? Or else you can stay here because God's got some cleaning up to do and it's going to be nasty. Okay? I love y'all. All right? Y'all hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in that comment section, and also hit the notification bell. Yes, it took me a long time to make this video, so you please watch it again. Okay? Because this one you might have to run back. Okay? Peace, love. 13. I ain't woke, I'm up, and I am a Ghostbuster.
Crucial 13, you all appreciate it. Shout out to you.
Get crucial.
I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this.
Look at this. This is the city I'm in right now.